Hi, and welcome to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. Today, we are talking about senior living and the different options you may have and what you need to do today should you be looking at this, whether for yourself in the not so distant future or your own aging parents, and what you need to know. Join me with Kimberly Truax on Crushing It with Your Tribe. Kimberly Truax found her passion 30 years ago for the quality care of seniors as a certified nursing assistant, also known as a CNA, and quickly saw the need to make a difference in their lives. Before creating Kind Companions 23 years ago and Bellaire Residential Assisted Living and Memory Care, she served as an assistant administrator, general manager, executive director, as well as a quality assurance specialist for 14 assisted living communities for a national leader in the industry. She is a state certified assisted living manager, a certified dementia practitioner, and a vibrational sound practitioner that promotes healing and wellness of the mind, body, heart, and soul. Companions, an established home care provider for more than 23 years, serving the Denton and surrounding area communities, caring for their people, and making life's challenges easier. She's the proud mother of her 11-year-old son, Billy, and a Siamese cat, Luna, and she has been the member of the American Businesswomen's Association, the National Association for Businesswomen, is passionate about mentoring younger women to become entrepreneurs, team building, and has served on the Denton Animal Support Foundation board for the last 12 years, advocating for the health and welfare of abandoned animals. Kimberly loves to cook and entertain, travel, dance, and spend quality time with her family and friends.
As a Texas realtor, Robin McCoy is in the unique position to meet and know so many different people in a wide range of industries. These people are her tribe, and she leverages them not only to help her business, but to help theirs as well. Welcome to Crushing It with Your Tribe, where we share real talk about building business and life relationships. Here is your host, Robin McCoy.
Hi, everyone. Robin McCoy. Welcome to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. And we're going to continue our little mini series on our seniors and our aging population, and whether it's us or our parents, that we just need the education. And today I have a good friend of mine. I've known her for years through the American Businesswomen's Association and other just events here in DFW. And her name is Kimberly Truax, and she is the owner of Kind Companions and also Bellaire Assisted Living and Memory Care up in Denton, Texas. Welcome to the show, Kimberly.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So we're happy that we can both see and hear each other.
That's
We had
right.
some technical challenges getting started. So Kimberly, like I said, she founded she became a CNA, a certified nursing assistant, over 30 years ago, and found this passion in you don't look it, you must have been 12. And found this passion in helping our senior population. And she created Kind Companions almost 23 years ago, which is, correct me, a home health company.
Home care.
Home care. And then she founded and built Bellaire Assisted Living and Memory Care in Denton, Texas, just a few years ago that opened, correct?
Yeah, March 1st will be 3 years for us.
So she's been in this biz a while, and if you've been listening to me for any length of time in the last 4 months, you know I have been on this journey with my mom, and what I thought I knew nothing. I thought I knew some stuff. I thought I had kind of a handle. Not at all. So that's what I want to talk about today, Kimberly,
Robin, I don't know a thing about real estate. So.
Well, that's fair then. That's fair. That's why we have our tribe, right? Because we need to have these people that we can trust to do us right. So Kimberly, tell me, let's just kind of back all the way up and how you really got started in this industry and why it is such a passion for you.
Well, going to the very beginning, I was volunteering with a buddy program through my church. And people that were, shut-ins and needed care and grocery shopping and meals and things like that. And I was just a volunteer, and we were sitting with those parishioners that were dying, and I don't know, I kind of had a knack for it. It just seemed to speak to my heart, and it was easy for me. And somebody said, you got to go get paid for this, right? And I was like, okay, well, so how do I do that? So I started, that's when I got my CNA, my
Okay.
certified nursing assistant. And I worked in uh, skilled nursing was my first, and then home health and hospice, and came up to Denton to work on a nursing degree, thinking, okay, this is my new field. And right before clinicals, I got an opportunity to run and direct a small assisted living group home, one of its first of its kind in Little Elm, believe it or not, for 8 ladies. And
I
I
could just see you.
I had a ball. I had a ball, and I was able to take my catering and party planning, background and my passion and care for seniors and put it together, and just, I mean, just give them a thriving environment and give them some fun, right? And so I was calling families in January to bring bathing suits up for their 90-something-year-old parents, because we were going to the natatorium, right? They had a lift. I discovered then how freeing being in the pool was. They could kick those walkers and wheelchairs to the side and get those kickboards and noodles and stuff. And anyway, it was just really great. I had found my new love. And, after I'd been there a couple of years, fortunately, the owner passed away, and her sons decided to sell it. And at that time, Marriott Senior Living was coming on the scene, and I went to work for them. And that is where I really dove in and learned, all the nuts and bolts of assisted living. And I was started as assistant administrator, general manager, and then I was doing quality assurance for 14 of their assisted living properties all across my region before I left there. Then when they got out of the business, that was short lived for them. But it was really great for me. And then I came off the road traveling and became the ED for 2 big communities in Dallas. And one of them, which was an independent living, it was like 250 residents, and the owner was going to sell, and residents were starting to need care in their independent living apartments. And so some of them were moving out because they needed care. So I had a conversation. I said, look, why don't I just develop some services, and we can serve those residents right here in their apartments. They don't have to move. You can sell a full building, and then I have a business to go home with. So that's kind of how Kind Companions started, with the influence of my grandmother. She and I were very, very close. I had her 99 and a half years, or she was, and or she was here 99 and a half years. And sharp as a tack all the way, to the end, a businesswoman, entrepreneur herself, and taught me a lot. And, when she started needing care, obviously I was very instrumental and very present with her, and helping to arrange all of those services. And so then I would see in the independent living, before I started Kind Companions, that some of these residents would hire outside agencies to come in and help. And what I would see, and what everybody thought they should be getting for their money, and what was actually coming in, was totally different
things. Yeah.
And I thought, if I do nothing else but raise the standard of care for this industry and home care, then I've done something good.
Yeah.
So anyway, I came back to Denton and went full force with Kind Companions. And we've just, it was been so great, and we're still going strong. And then I had a vision. I've had a vision probably, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. It started thinking about, what kind of a place would be really great, loving and nurturing, and with holistic approaches, and kind of, different than what's out there. Because I used to run big, huge retirement, independent, assisted living communities that were like resort style, right?
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, and they make the adult children feel a little less guilty, and
Killed.
and but what I found, right, they have all these beautiful, great rooms, but nobody's using them. Nobody's in them.
Yeah.
We're the residents.
In their rooms, in their apartments.
They're isolating, right? Because it's
Mhm.
so overwhelming. That environment is so overwhelming. And so you have to take into account, right, that they're grieving a lot of losses.
Yeah, so many.
Their house, their spouse, their cognitive, their physical abilities, right?
Their
Maybe-
independence.
Yeah, their independence, their driving, possibly their pets. I mean, there's a lot. And so, not knowing any different, we think we know, oh, the biggest, grandest private room, with wine labels and waterfalls and granite is the best thing for my mom. And it's overwhelming, and nobody's talking to them, right? They get stuck in this private room. So, through my home care agency too, right? I got to go in and out of all of these seniors' homes and seeing, kind of their environment and learning about them and where they came from and what is comforting to them. And that is a small residential setting. And so that's kind of how Bellaire was born, with that idea that we are going to be a home, a house. It's not going to be a facility. That is my F word. I don't like it. And so Bellaire is very Southern living, very relaxed atmosphere. It is as much unlike a facility, as possible. It's our residents' house. It's their home. And so their Afghans are on our sofas. Their books and knickknacks are in our bookcases. They're snoozing in the recliners. They're at the dinner table. They schlep to the kitchen at 3 a.m. for a snack. They get to do what they want in their home. If they want to come sit at the breakfast table in their pajamas and have their coffee, their first coffee, and read the paper and watch the birds, in their robe and pajamas, they get to do that. Yeah. It's their house. So we don't have any hard and fast rules. I learned that from my father. My dad sleeps till at least 10 every morning. He's more of a night owl. And he's like, don't put me anywhere where I'm going to have to rest and at a breakfast table at 7:30 in the morning and play freaking bingo. I don't do that.
I'm not going there.
Don't do that to me, So, and I listen to that because that's for a lot of people. And we have some that wake up at 7. We have some that wake up at 9. I mean, we want to hold true to whatever is normal for them and their lifestyle. So anyway, I guess I kind of got off of that, but
no, I mean, I think that's really important. Are you looking to buy or sell a home in the bustling DFW area? Look no further, because I am Robin McCoy, your trusted real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty. For over 15 years, I've been helping buyers and sellers navigate the real estate market here in DFW. So whether you're looking for your dream home or aiming to sell your property for the best price, relax. I got this. As a seasoned professional, I'll guide you through the entire process, ensuring a smooth and stress-free experience. I understand that buying or selling a home can be a significant decision. That's why I pride myself on providing exceptional customer service. I'll be with you every step of the way, answering your questions and addressing your concerns. So why take a chance with just any real estate agent? Choose me, Robin McCoy, the professional who has proven my excellence in helping both buyers and sellers in the DFW area for over 15 years. Call me today at 214-226-3770 or visit my website at robinmccoyrealty.com. Let's make your DFW real estate dreams come true. Relax. I got this. That's really important when, again, whether it's for ourselves, like your dad saying, I'm not going anywhere. I got to get up at 7 and put my pants on.
Right.
Or, it's for our, our parents, ourselves. it's important to know now while you could still make these decisions.
Exactly. And I encourage that sooner than later with
Yes.
all
It's
of
one of those things we don't want to talk about, because if I don't talk about it, then it won't happen. But guess what? It's slowly, then suddenly, right?
that's
Everything's
right.
fine, everything's fine, and then everything's not fine.
That's right. That's right.
And no good decisions are made in urgency.
Right. And with Medicare benefits, there's opportunities that early on your parent might qualify for home health, right? Just for stability, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and keeping those limbs moving. And then outside of that, there's outpatient therapy if they don't qualify for home care, and there's stretch labs now and massage therapy. There's all kinds of things to help keep us mobile, and that's very important. We have we have massage therapy at Bellaire for our residents and our staff. We have stretch lab that comes in. We have Tai Chi. We have exercise every day. And like I tell my dad, you got to stay mobile. You got to stay mobile. And if anybody knows my dad, he's a big man. And if he goes down, it's not, he's going to get him up, right?
Yeah.
So we really, really encourage that. And that's part of our holistic approach too, is, treating the whole mind, body, and soul and spirit, and working on opportunities for forgiveness and gratitude, and talking about all the losses that are being grieved, and helping that person come full circle, with their life, and have moments so that they're relishing living and not just sitting around waiting to die,
Yeah.
and that they have good quality of experiences and moments of joy in their last stages. And I'm beyond honored, right, that I get to participate in those sacred moments with them, in those last stages of their life. And so, and the trust that people place in us is huge. And I do not take that lightly. And I mean, that's the most precious gift they're giving us, other than their child, they're giving us their parent, right? And who they're looking at losing fairly soon. So we take that very seriously, and we step and fetch for them all day long, very concierge service, and we're a family, it's an intentionally small, nurturing, loving environment.
Well, and I think that's what's beautiful about it right there. I mean, having gone, doing the research very quickly with my own mother, and seeing, like, walking into one place and going, oh yeah, nope, I don't care what we're not going here, and going into another and going, okay, this feels better. There's something about a feeling when you walk in, right, that you're like, okay, I could trust my mother to these people.
Yeah.
Because I can't be there every minute. And, and it's a big deal. It's just a big deal.
And we understand. I mean, we have to earn people's trust very quickly, and people have to trust very quickly, right? You don't get a lot of time to think about if you can trust these people to take care of your parent. I mean, you just have to.
It's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if something isn't as it should be, something could have already gone wrong, right? Before you realize that this isn't happening the way I think it should, or it really should be, or something's getting missed. It's already happened.
Right.
And so that's why, a full understanding now, again, like I said, when you can still make these decisions, and if you're the older person, you still have some input,
right,
into what that's going to look like for yourself,
right,
so that you can give your children some guidance, right?
Right. And a lot of adult children, they're dealing with a lot of guilt. Huge. And they're also wanting their parent to participate in making the choices, right? So if you start that early on, right, it's much better, and it's much easier for the adult child than when nothing is done until there is a major event, And then the adult child is left having to make all these choices on their own, or for the sake of dementias, they're making these decisions on their own. I tell people, your parent chose you as their power of attorney. And that means they trusted you to make those decisions for them when they became incapacitated or could no longer make good decisions for themselves. They trusted you to do that. They felt that you would know and do that for them. And now is the time to do that. Your parent is not capable of making these decisions. They don't know. You didn't know, right? And you're just learning this. How the heck did they know? Unless they did it for their parent. But when they were doing it for their parent, things were a lot different. And
a whole lot different.
Near what we have now to choose from.
Well, and I look at this and, that was hard enough for me to navigate. And I have people like you and Pat Nixon and Carol Thomas and these people in my world that I could cry to and get guidance and understanding. My mother, and that was hard for me. I can't imagine somebody that doesn't have a tribe like you or is a senior themselves to navigate this stuff.
Yeah, there's
when they don't have somebody. Impossible.
And when I talk to groups of, like senior groups at churches and events and stuff, is all the different options that there are, because there are so many. So, there is, the first, is most people get is home health, and Medicare pays for that. Medicare
I wish we'd done that with my mom early on. She wouldn't, but again, I didn't know either.
Right. And there's, physical therapy and occupational therapy, speech therapy. And a lot of that, if you've had a major event, they're going to prescribe that for you. Medicare pays for that. There's also, med minders and life alert buttons, right, that can help people stay independent at home. Then there is, there's assisted living. There is residential care homes. There's independent living apartments where people can live and have their home health there. But Medicare only pays for skilled services like PT and OT and a nurse visit. Okay. Private pay, you have to private pay if you want somebody to come in and do hourly care. If somebody, it's not safe for them to be alone, or if they're recovering from a surgery. And that's, that's upwards, $30 to $40 an hour now. And
it floored me when we started investigating different things, and I spoke to you about it.
Yeah.
And minimum, you're looking at $12,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that, and that's just, and, people, including, the senior themselves, Medicare doesn't pay for that. No. Mm-hmm. And they don't pay for your housing.
No.
They don't pay for these things. And that's surprise. I think a lot of times we think, well, thank God I'm on Medicare now. They're going to take care of everything.
Right. And I get a lot of calls for Bellaire.
I bet you do.
And they go through the whole thing. And then there's and I said, well, do they have long-term care insurance by chance or whatever? Oh, she's got Medicare and she's got Humana, and none of those things pay for assisted living.
They do. People really truly think it does.
Yeah,
they really truly think it does, and they completely shocked and floored when it doesn't.
Right.
And that's where this research needs to come in. That's where, like you said, long-term health care. If you're young right now, go get it, because it becomes so very expensive if you're older and you've had any events that have happened because you're 40, 50, 60, and now you try and get it and you've had health events, it makes it almost impossible.
Right. And Medicaid, God bless them, it can only, pay so much. They may pay for 4 to 6 hours of home care, but they don't get paid, reimbursed anything. So they can't have quality. It's rare that they have quality care because they can only pay minimum wage. So you get a lot of people not showing up, or they've got, all kinds of other issues that keep them from providing the quality that your parent deserves. So, and then there's even fewer opportunities for Medicaid beds in
Yeah.
assisted livings. And the list is
Yeah.
long. It's like 9 years to get, if you just decided today, I'm going to
Ugh.
apply for Medicaid, it's like 9 years. So sadly, you have
It's
to have a major event, hospitalized, go into rehab, skilled nursing, and then you can move. You're at the top of the list to go into, a Medicaid bed somewhere. But until that Medicaid bed is available, you have to pay privately.
yeah. And I don't see this as a sustainable system
Well, think about all the
going
difference,
forward.
right? We're on the tail end of all the
Mhm.
savers and investors. This next group coming in,
We got no
spenders,
money.
spenders.
Yeah,
So I don't know what's going to happen with that in the Medicaid system.
because it just doesn't seem sustainable
Yeah.
to me for this wave of people that are my age or 60 years old today,
Right.
and they're coming on really fast.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And what's going to happen? I mean, so let me ask you this. So what are the first steps that a person should take, again, whether for themselves or for their, or as an adult child, when we start looking at our parents or ourselves? What do we need to be looking at, and where do we, you know what I mean? What kind of research? What should we do so
Okay.
we're prepared?
So I get a lot of phone calls around the holidays because
Everybody realizes mom's worse off than we thought.
right, they've come in town for the holidays and they're like, oh, mom's got expired food in her fridge, doesn't look like she's bathed, she's washing out her Depends and hanging them on the curtain rod, and there's a smell in the house. So obviously something major, there's been a major change, and they've got to act fast and get help in there. But if you can avoid waiting for an event, I suggest that you start the conversations early. And what do you want, Mom? What do you want, Dad? If there was some kind of catastrophic event, or what if all of a sudden you couldn't make decisions and you were confused, and what would you want, and how would you want me to handle that? And that's an easy way to kind of just get into that when you're when they're still just viable, and then they can say, oh, well, I want this, or I wouldn't want that, or what did you do for your parent? How did you handle it when your parent, right? And depending from, what region in the country they live, or what their background is, or their religious background, or whatever. I mean, there's every kind of answer for that.
Right.
And so it's important to know that. And the other thing is that this generation that we're still working with, they've been married 60, 70 years. Okay. And they feel like the spouse feels like they're falling down on their job if they let somebody else help. If they bring care into the home, or if they place their loved one in an assisted living, or any type of care situation. And so, because the times have changed, because things are so different, because there's so much more available, we have to really help them to understand, years ago, there wasn't all these options, and getting help, right, helps you to be the better spouse, because you don't have to be the caregiver, right? You become the caregiver, it changes the whole dynamic of your relationship.
Yeah, it does.
Right? You're no longer the spouse, you're no longer the child, you're no longer, and the last stages of your parents' lives, I mean, don't you want to be enjoying each other and relishing that time, instead of, oh God, I got to get Depends, and I got to call this doctor, and I got to get, the groceries ordered, and the laundry hadn't been done, and, Mom needs this medicine, and I get this other doctor, didn't tell this doctor. I mean, all of that stuff, right? And I'm not telling you anything.
But it's so hard, and you don't even realize it until
Right.
you're in it, that you've become a caregiver instead of the daughter.
Right. And then resentments and
Mhm.
irritability set up, on both ends. And then all of a sudden, mom's finally somewhere, but the daughter is so exhausted, it's and I can tell you too, from the kind companion standpoint, we have had to call 911 for the caregiver spouse, um, before, instead of the person we were caring for,
Yeah.
because they're so burnt out and so stressed out over it.
That
And
they're not sleeping and they're not eating and they're not taking care of themselves.
right. And if you go down, then what?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a balance, and there is help out there. There's help available. And I encourage everyone to start the conversations early. Start the relationships with home health and hospice. And I mean, they're benefits, it's Medicare benefits.
So
And
how do we find that out? So if I'm talking to my parent, I'm thinking about this, who do I call to find out what is available to my mother at this stage? I
you can
wouldn't even
always
know who
call
to
me.
call. Call
You can always
Kimberly, of
call me.
course.
You can always call me. Um, well, it would again depend on the scenario, but there are geriatric case managers that and social workers, and that can, that is their job. If your parent is in the hospital and about to, looking at discharge, that's their job to find placement for them if it's not safe for them to go home. And if you tell them it's not safe for them to go home, or they have no care there available, they can't discharge your parent without them having a safe place.
Yeah, that is one of the things I learned, that there cannot be a discharge if they can't go someplace safe,
Right.
where
Right.
where they are going to have help. They're not going to fall down. They're going to be they're going to be able to
Mhm.
eat and
Right.
those things.
Right. Right.
So it's just a in fact, I've got a friend who is, or was, she's retired, was CEO for Medicare, United Healthcare Medicare Wisconsin.
Hmm.
It's a long title, but she was helpful to me with our insurance, saying, "Robin, you have a case manager,"
Hmm.
and I'm like,
I do.
"I do."
Yeah.
But of course, she goes, "Well, they're probably calling your mom." I said, "My mom's not going to answer the phone if it's not my name or my sister's name, right? Because we tell her, don't answer the phone. People are going to try and,
Sell me
right?
something. Yeah.
So it is out there. We just have to know
Right.
where to look.
Be the leader you know you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
It is out there. We just have to know
Right.
where to look.
Right. And word of mouth, right? Friend to friend. This is who I know. This is our experience, right? You've gone through it, right? So you know who to refer to. Getting on the phone and calling Medicare directly, or Medicaid, or your insurance company. They're going to give you some of the bullets and give you a long list of providers that half of them are no longer in business, or they don't take your type of insurance, or it's just
It's a beating.
it is, it's treacherous, it really is. So I highly recommend, and I tell people, even when they call me and I'm not a good fit for them, okay, maybe they're looking for Medicaid, I will give them resources and referrals. So, and I tell them, call me back, use me as a resource. I'm happy to help, because there's all kinds of programs out there. There's, family support groups too, which can be hugely helpful. We have one at Bellaire twice a month, and with the Jerry psychologist. And it's amazing how much comfort the family members get from each other, right? And they don't have to be living at Bellaire. I mean, they can come from anywhere. Just to know that they're not alone, and hear the stories, right, of how other people are handling things, or not.
Because
handling
there is a huge amount of guilt.
Yeah.
And there's a huge amount of, I'm not possibly doing enough. I can't, I should be able to do more. And there's guilt that you don't have $1 million to
Yeah.
put your mom in a place that she,
Mhm.
it's just, it's,
Well, and then the flip side of it is that both spouses are still living, then one could very easily suck everything dry
yeah,
for
yeah,
their medical events, and then the one that is still fairly healthy and not needing anything, when their time comes, there's nothing left.
yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of balancing that has to go on, and there's ways, which I would refer to a social worker, some that I know that do great work that could help families plan and plan for that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I think that's the key right there is even though mom and dad may be fully able to live independently, and yet they're 75 years old, it's time to start seeing what is available. And if Medicare is already paying for it, what if we get somebody in there once a week to give them some physical therapy or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
Right? Because it keeps, again, and I've said this, my mom retired and sat down.
Yeah.
And sat down.
Yeah.
And, we get arthritis and our spine and osteoporosis and all the things. And, the only thing to kind of keep that at bay is exercise and moving and stretching. And often people aren't going to do that on their own.
Well, if they're not qualified as homebound yet, then they have to be proactive and get out there and go get stretched, go get go walk, go swim, go dance, go just and it doesn't have to be a lot, but we got to keep our limbs and joints and moving. Like my grandmother said, you rest, you rust.
Yes. And she is 100% correct. That's the nice way to put it, is you rust.
If I sleep too long on one side, right?
Exactly. Sit too long, all of a sudden your knees aren't working anymore.
Right.
And that's just, our bodies wear out. We are just a system of things that are put together, and we've been using it for 60, 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
It's going to wear out.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What is one thing that maybe we didn't go over, but that you would really like to get across to people that may be facing it right now or see it in the not so distant future? What is something that they should know?
Well, I think, and everybody, I think you agree with this, but start the relationships early. We talked about that, but that I can't stress that enough. And be the daughter, be the son, be and reach out for help. Call me, call Pat, call Carol, call you. You're an expert now, right? And there's lots of resources out there. Don't feel like you're alone. You can Google, right, and find somebody, but it's helpful if you know someone, or if you know somebody that knows somebody, right? That just gives you a little line of comfort to start that process, and really know your parent. It's amazing how sometimes we think we know our parents, right? They raised us, we lived with them forever, but there's a lot we don't know about them. And in fact, I gave my dad that Storyworth subscription, which is really cool. It sends a new question for them to answer, and it's a book, and you get this wonderful book. And we did it for his 80th birthday. And it's all his answers to all these questions, and we put all these pictures in it and everything. And it becomes a story to your family, and questions about what they were like when they were 15 years old, or what and what their greatest advice is, and what their how many people sit down with their parent and ask those questions, right? And so find out,
Yeah.
who was your dad's girlfriend before he met your mom? What did he love about your mother? What did he, or um, how many boyfriends did mom have before she? I mean, and do you know your parents? Some people don't even know their parents' favorite color.
Yeah.
Or their favorite flower, or so there's just so
Yeah.
many things, and that you have to take into consideration, and what about your parent, right? Versus, and you can walk in someplace and know based on what they offer if that's a good fit for your parent.
Yeah.
Okay, so many people don't know that if their parents incontinent or not. Well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, yes, they are.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they are. And it is. It's hard. It's hard as the adult child. It's very hard because, like you just said, you don't even realize what
Well,
you
and we're in
don't
that
know.
sandwich generation. Okay,
Right.
I'm living that right now. I mean, I'm an older parent, but I've got an 11-year-old son, and I got 80-year-old parents, and I got 4 of them because both my parents are remarried. I got 4. Okay, so I get it, and my job, I feel, and that the gift has been given to me, is to make their job easier, right, and
Yeah.
to give them some comfort in helping them to make choices for their parent that can't make them anymore, and making them feel okay about what they're doing, that they are doing it. And
I think, I just know that I would be, I'd cry all the way to the rehab to see my mom, get myself together, walk in, hey mom, la la la, and spend whatever time and then get back in the truck and start crying again.
yeah,
Because I didn't think I was doing all the right things, even though now I know I was, to the best of my ability. And it just was breaking my heart to see where she was
headed, or where she's headed.
Yeah, and where and how it had happened. And it's difficult. It is one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know and to look for signs early, and like you said, start having conversations. Even if they don't want to have it, you've got to start having some of those conversations year, 2, 3, 5 years before it's going to be needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I joke with my dad, and I said, you're not going to be an old, stinky old man, that doesn't bathe. I said, you are going to bathe. And I said, let me know right now how you want to be bathed.
Because this is the way it's going to happen, and I'm going to do it as close to the way you want it as possible. That's funny.
That's
funny.
There's, I mean, I'm a bathtub queen, so there better be a bathtub for me,
And you better be able to get in and out of it. And
that's right. That's right. So
but these are important. Like you said at the beginning, is being in a place, whether it's their own home or a senior care home or an assistant, whatever it is, making it as comfortable for them.
Right.
And when you say, their Afghans and their blankets are on the furniture and their little knickknacks are in the shelves, that is their home. And I think that's so important to just give.
And there's a lot of, questions that people, they don't know to ask, right? And it's like, are they licensed, right? Do they, how long has their key, administrator and people, key employees been there? Those are things. Do they have a lot of turnover in their key staff? I mean, those are things to know, kind of what the culture is like, right?
Yeah.
In that place. And do they offer, right? Is it levels of care? Is it all inclusive, right?
That's a big one.
Can I come in at a good rate that you're advertising, but then if it's $1,000 if mom needs meds, is it another $1,000 if she needs a bath? Is it another $1,000 if she needs being transferred? Then it just click, clicks.
And all of a sudden you're going from 4 to 8,000 in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So, there's questions about that. And then, people are afraid of hospice, but I'm going to tell you, I've had people on hospice 3 and 4 years. I've had people come off hospice, go back on hospice. I've had 5 residents since they lived at Bellaire come completely off of hospice just because they're getting the nutrition and lots of attention and therapeutic touch, and then they can go, then they can go back when it's time, or they can go to home health or palliative care, right? And there's so many options available, but hospice, I mean, they pay you for your medication, your supplies, all of your supplements, I mean, there's just such a benefit. And
people are scared of that word hospice.
Right.
You have to find a new name for people, because my mother would think that if you told her she was going on hospice, she'd think she was dying tomorrow.
Right. Well, now they use a lot of palliative care now as a step between home health and hospice, but that's a great way to build your, what is the word? Your relationship.
Okay, there it is. I'm like, I don't know where you're going.
With, that team, right?
Yeah.
So I know who's going to be taking care of me. I'm comfortable with who's taking care of me. I know you, I love you, and I'm grateful to have you be taking care of me. And they have that relationship and that rapport versus, oh my God, major event, and all these people are poking and prodding at me, and I don't know who they are. And,
I think that was the hardest part, especially in that hospital. We basically had to wheel her into the hospital to get any help because doctors were not helping. And so we just took her to the ER, and she was there for a while. And there's shifts, right? So it's every time she turned around, it was a different nurse, and it was a different this, and it was different that. And that was just so confusing to her. And, once we got her settled, then things were less confusing, and her memory was better.
right.
But when somebody is coming in and it's somebody different all the time, and they're poking at this and they're prodding at that, and they're taking this and they're moving you here, and they're,
Yeah. And a lot of times they're just doing their jobs, right?
Yeah.
They're not in touch or have time to make a connection with that person, right? And that's what's so important. That's what builds trust, is the connection.
Yeah.
And I mean, a deaf person, a person with advanced dementia, they can tell if you care by the way, they may not understand what you're saying, but they can read your eyes, they can read your expressions, they can
your tone
and your touch. If you stop and put your hand on their shoulder and look directly into their eyes and smile, that is I get shivers, because it's such a special moment, not just for them but for us too, is that we're connecting. They know we're safe and that we're there for them, and telling them that they're safe. This is you're safe and you're cared for and everything's okay.
And we've got you.
Okay.
We've got you.
We've got you. Yeah.
We've got you.
So they are then freer to express who they are, because they feel safe and cared for.
There's just so much we could sit and talk about this forever, which we have done, and there's so much to unpack, and there's so many questions that come up with every conversation, right?
And they're different for every single person, right?
Yes.
Not one person is the same. But I would encourage them, ask their doctor, is mom or dad, are they, do you think they could get benefit from some home health? Doctors are busy too. They don't think about it unless it's something major. Ask them, hey, mom's is shuffling her feet a little bit, or is a little unsteady, or she fell. Can we get her some home health? Doctor writes the script. She's got that in the house, right? Get a medication dispenser, right? It comes out in a little cup. It says, Mabel, it's time for you to take your pill. The cup rolls out. Mabel doesn't take it. It retracts it and calls the daughter. Mom didn't take her pills, There's the little buttons. These are things, these are ways to start keeping them independent in their home as long as possible, right? Then you can add some home care, or find, a resident place, residential care homes are a lot smaller environment, more homey, but they may be a resort person that's a little more active and like that, and they go there first. I mean, there's all kinds of options out there. So,
well, I am grateful to you every single day because of just the last 6 months and how you've helped me. And so I can't thank you enough.
I remember your first phone call.
Yeah. It was a little erratic, I'm guessing.
But it's that fear, and what am I going to do? What do I do?
What do I do?
That fear, that feeling of helplessness. How do I take care of my parent, right? Yeah. So, just get involved, start early, ask questions.
And keep asking questions. It's just one question leads to the next, and just keep asking them until you're confident in the answer.
Right. And use me as a resource. I'm happy. Other people are happy to share what we know and make, and make the right referrals for you, that can help you.
Huge. That's huge. So, well, all of Kimberly's, obviously her contact information and all of that will be in the show notes so that you can reach out to her. And you can trust me when I say she is genuine in everything she says. This is truly a passion for her, and she understands it and she gets it. And so that is amazing. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, Kimberly. I so appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can keep in touch with everything we've got. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for Crushing It with Your Tribe with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests and to access your free resources and information discussed on this episode. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we will see you next time on Crushing It with Your Tribe with Robin McCoy.